talk UConn football.
So it's what? August 8th? 1, 8, 13, 23 days away?
Yeah.
23 days from kickoff, boys.
For the Maryland Terrapins.
Now, we're only about 48 hours away. I don't know if we're going to do a kickoff or not, but we're going to have a Saturday inter-squad scrimmage out there at the Rent. Weather permitting, but I think the weather's going to be great, actually, for the window of opportunity, especially it's football. You want like
football
today,
could be cold and wet. You could still stand it.
Like you're saying with the baseball boys.
Like great baseball.
I would rather play in this right now in August than something that's 95 degrees out. But a lot of eyes are going to be on the offense when people go out there to the Rent. And Tuesdays are kind of media days for UConn football, and a lot of media get to go to practice. Now, you were telling me off the air, you got an invite to practice as a season ticket holder?
Yeah. When you're a season ticket holder, you get all these different invites.
They let you go to practice?
Yes.
That's cool, man.
You show your support.
I did not know that.
100%. And then they have walkthroughs and stuff. And, like, if you're in local football, like my friend is the president of the Pop Warner in the Pomperog or the Southbury, Middlebury, Woodbury area. They invite a lot of kids. They want. Again, this is why I love Mora Jr. This is why I love the new crop of these coaches. They want to be able to recruit the up-and-coming high school players.
Right.
They want these kids excited about the program, and so they show. And I got to say this about Jim Mora Jr. and this football team: they are great with the kids. You know, my friend Joe, who's the president of the league, is always saying these guys are showing things that they should be working on, techniques and stuff like that they're using at the Division I level, things that are going to make these kids better. And so they're very generous with their time when they're doing these clinics and stuff like that. So basketball does the same thing. I know Jim Penders in baseball does the same thing. So when you're trying to grow the fan base of the young fan base to get excited about wanting to play football, I think UConn does a great job of what they're doing with these younger kids.
I agree with that. I love hearing that they're just letting season ticket holders come to practice, and you're totally right about Mora Jr. and really this program opening its doors to kiddos, and we saw that at the spring game, man. There was probably more kids there than there were adults. Let's start with the big boys up front. Again, this was just basically offensive driven. The press conference that Coach gave right after the practice on Tuesday, so we've had a couple of days since then, a couple of practices since then. Two guys you may remember from last year's O-line that are going to be anchoring both sides, Chase Lund, Valentine Sen. Be honest with you, man, I didn't think much of these guys 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I thought, no way are they going to make it as D1 offensive linemen. Au contraire, mon frere. I don't know if it was the upperclassmen from last year or the year before that is really toughened these two up, but they have added muscle mass. Their footwork is 1,000 times better than what it was a couple years ago. But now Chase Lund and Valentine Sen are on the Shrine Bowl watch list. We'll start with that, Kurt. The O-line conversation, as Coach Mora was asked about it on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, you've got two veteran tackles, and that's critical. You know, we know how important that position is. Now, especially with young guys on the inside this year, you know, we lost really all three of our starters inside. So to have two anchors outside, I mean, that's, I think, pretty comforting. And I think they will help whoever lines up at guard next to them and center. I think that'll help them just have an experience and confidence and been in this system now for 3 years.
So got to fill in the two guards in the center, which, like Coach is saying, it's great to have your two anchors on the outside, but I'm nervous about that as all get out. I'd be blitzing all day.
Everybody will be bum rust in the center.
Exactly. So we're going to find out real quick of how good this team is based upon those three up front. You have the best running back in the world. You could have the best wide receiver quarterback combination in the world. It's not going to mean squat if a gap is wide open for a middle linebacker to tee off on that guy. So those three positions, very important. I'll be watching those three on Saturday.
Well, and on the watch list is for comeback player of the year is Joe Fignano.
Yeah, I saw that today.
He separated his shoulder because of I don't want to say the offensive line, but you got to protect these guys. You need guys protecting your backside. You need guys protecting your front side. And that seemed to be a problem all last year, that there was always somebody getting through the line, getting to the quarterback. It's not easy. You need a little bit of time to get the ball down the field. So that's the offensive line, besides the defensive line, one of the most important parts of this UConn team.
Yeah, just as much as the women's basketball team was riddled with injuries, this UConn football team was as well, in some really key positions. And Dibs, exactly what you said is so true, man. We got to keep these guys upright and can't be mixing and matching on week 2 because we got so many injuries after Maryland. Let's go to the receivers, though, next. A lot of new faces, but a couple of guys that are mainstays. Coach rattles off a bunch of names that he has been watching, but a lot of possibilities for guys to make plays in the receiver position this year from UConn.
Eilish and Zach have made constant progress since they've been here. We brought in 5 veteran guys, so we expect a lot out of those older guys. We've got an older guy in Brett. But Eilish and Zach, to me, the last couple days have really shown up. Eilish is an outstanding blocker. Zach's, using his length and his speed to make good catches, and we need that. At this level, and the way you play offense nowadays, and the number of snaps you're getting, you can't just play with 3 or 4 receivers. You got to have 8, sometimes 9, and then the things they can do on special teams. Zach and Eilish give you big, fast, physical bodies on special teams as well. And then there's a young guy, Brock Montgomery, who continues to catch my eye as well.
Eilish Hicks is who he is talking about, a redshirt sophomore back for this year. It looks like he's going to get a start on the outside. And then, I forget his last name. Hold on, I'm going to bring it up. Zach Drawdy. Drawdy's a redshirt freshman that I think people are really going to like. This kid's just got the build, and seeing him in the spring game, he's a pretty good route runner. The best route runner, and is on the same page with especially Fagnano, is Brett Buckman. Brett Buckman has shown flashes, but Brett Buckman has shown drops at times in some crucial spots. Like, this is a huge year for this grad student. Like, he is the old man in the receiver core. He has to be the leader and leading by example more than it is just being rah-rah. But this core has to block better. They're one of the worst. Like, I played this position, so I'm really critical of these guys so much. And, just seeing their effort on blocks, they would throw wide receiver screens where it's just you and me, man. You got to block for me, Dibs. And it was Olay time, and I get lit up. That's how it felt with a lot of wide receiver screens. Catching is easy. That's the easy part. If you can block and get open, that's the hard part. Once the ball hits your hands, you should be able to catch it. Who's throwing the football?
That's going to be the problem. Well, we also got a 6'7" former quarterback at TCU, Alex Honig, is fighting for the tight end job.
Yeah.
That guy can block.
I'm glad you're bringing these guys up.
So this is a newcomer as well. Transfer.
And the Hansen transfer from last year from Michigan didn't get a lot of time.
Lewis Hansen.
Justin Jolie, who transferred out, he took a lot of his reps. So, Lewis Hansen should be a big factor in the passing game.
Just the size, the strength, and this guy also is a former quarterback, so he understands the offensive scheme. That's going to help UConn a lot, even if he's the backup or the starter. We've got talent. It's just got to go out there, like you said, and execute.
Just to have a guy that's a threat to catch and also can block as a bonus tackle, that's going to help Victor Rosa out a lot, because it's going to keep that outside linebacker playing straight and playing a little bit deeper than what maybe he would used to if the tight end isn't a threat to catch any balls. But who's going to be throwing to him is the big question mark. Coach is probably getting asked this every single day. This is his Tuesday version of the answer of who's playing quarterback for UConn next year.
I don't want to say I'm happy with anything yet. I'm encouraged. I like the way they compete, and I like the way they encourage each other and support each other. I mean, it's a tough competition. What I do like is the room. I think that, setting aside the 2 freshman walk-ons, because I haven't had a chance to evaluate them yet, but the other guys I have, when you talk about Joe and Nick and Tucker and Cole, those are 4 good players. I mean, they're all good quarterbacks. It's by far the best room that we've had since I've been here. I think they all have the ability to play and play well and win at this level. So that's very encouraging. Happy? Not yet. We got to win a game before you get happy.
Now, what you said about the interior line makes me want to get a lot of different quarterbacks just in case we have to replace a starter in the middle of the season or multiple times in the season, because that's been the thing the last couple of years. When we get good quarterback play, that quarterback gets hurt. and the guy coming in kind of learns on the fly. All 4 of these guys have potential to be starters here. Nick Evers is the new face in the crowd, where he is the transfer that did not get to play at Oklahoma, so he went to Wisconsin. Did not get to play at Wisconsin, so now he's here at UConn. Got to hang out with this kid a little bit last Sunday. Like, the dude is a athlete. He is an athlete. Haven't seen, him in pads and what that looks like, but all accounts say this kid can run. This kid will be a very shifty read option for whether it's Cam Edwards, whether it's Victor Rosa in the backfield. Joe Fagnano, he looked really good in that first game before he got injured. We shall see what we get. I think those two are going to be neck and neck, and all eyes are going to be on those two on Saturday. But not far behind, redshirt freshman Tucker McDonald, as Coach was talking about. And you and I loved what we saw with the true freshman Cole Welliver, the kid out of Texas during the spring game.
First of all, he's tall. When you're 6'4", 6'5", you look over your offensive line. You can pick guys out downfield. It's always nice to have a big, tall quarterback.
And he played at Liberty Christian out of Texas, which is a no-joke football program, and he throws a dynamic ball. Like, that kid has a rocket arm. I put him in the category of number 1 arm. I put Nick Evers in the category of number 1 athlete, but I put Joe Fagnano in the category of the guy who really has the job, is the leader of the team, and probably knows the offensive scheme better than anyone in that room right now. But that competition will be interesting in the next couple of weeks. Perhaps when Coach Mora comes to iHeart on the 22nd of this month for the first coaches show, we'll have that answer by then. But I wouldn't be surprised if it keeps it under his vest until the Wednesday before Maryland at the end of the month.
And listen, the bar is not that high on our offense. Last year, 121st in the country.
Lowest.
It's one of the worst. So, again, that's something that they have to work on. It's not just points per game, trying to win these football games. If you win by 1 point, you still win by 1 point.
So true.
And that's what Mora's talking about. We're not going to have fans unless we win football games. To win football games, you got to have better offense. Everybody's got to execute.
And taking care of the football, I think, is the number one thing for these guys. Like, when you come into a season, you can rattle off 105-yard runs. You can throw bombs. But the guy who doesn't know the offense, he's not going to play. The guy that keeps on turning the ball over, he's not going to play very long. So those two aspects of this quarterback competition, I think, first and foremost. But again, like Dib said, the bar is low, man. I'd love to see a 100-yard run touchdown from a quarterback. I'll take that. And we'll probably be making that guy mayor.
Whoop, whoop, in the parking lot.
All right, last but not least, last cut. There is a scrimmage on Saturday out there at the Rent. This is Coach talking about what he expects to see when he go out there.
Well, I hope there's some fans there, obviously. I hope they, we got to, like I've said a lot of times, we got to earn them back. We got to earn their trust again. I just want to take this team out of a comfortable environment like this, where it's easy to walk out of the locker room, walk on the field, take them somewhere that's new, it's a little more expansive, and just see how they react. Can we maintain the intensity that we have in practices like we did today in a new environment? One of my thoughts is I was hoping that we could kind of move around the state and do some practices around the state, but the NCAA doesn't let you do that, so we couldn't do that. But we need to get in some environments that we're not accustomed to being in every day and see how we react.
I think that's a great idea. I kind of want to know about that NCAA rule, like why you can't do practices anywhere in the world if you feel like it.
Probably the same reason why they're not allowed to talk to underclassmen high school kids.
I know it's a recruiting thing. Yeah. Like, I always think of Ohio State and how dominant they are in the state of Ohio, yet the state of Ohio has 20 Division I football teams. And if you were to allow the Buckeyes to go to Toledo and do something, man, the Rockets may have something to say about that. But still, I thought it was a great idea. And the fans thing. We love this comment. We have heard from previous coaches just basically complaining how the fans don't care. Right. I love how this coach says, I need to do my job better so the fans care more. I just love that comment, and hopefully we do get a crowd out there, but I think it is great for the boys to be playing in their home facility in a game-like atmosphere, in a game-like situation for this inter-squad on Saturday.
Agreed. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back, do First Dibs question of the day.